Let's play with a real consecutive word problem here. We are not just dealing with consecutive integers, we are also dealing with decoding the language of math here. But let's deal with that consecutive part first. We are looking at 3 consecutive integers. So if you watched the last 3 videos, you know the setup for that, but as a reminder, these are pulled from your book, and notice straight consecutive integers. The setup would be the first one is n, the second is n plus 1, and the third is n plus 2. If we were dealing with even or odd, it would be n plus 2, and n plus 4. Either way, we count by 2's. But we're doing straight consecutive integers, so we have n plus 1, and n plus 2. I'm going to write those down. In the last 3 videos, you watched me label these as first, second, and third. And I mentioned it didn't matter in the problems we were solving before, but when you got to more specific, more complicated problems, it does. That is now. Notice that they are referring to our 3 consecutive integers as the third one, the first one, and the second one. So we need to know which is which. So I am going to go in and label everything here. The third consecutive integer is n plus 2. The third of the 3 subtracted from 117. Subtracted from switches the order. So normally we would do n plus 2 minus 117, but because they said from, then it's going to swap the order around. So we now have 117 minus n plus 2. Because this single number has more than one term, we need to contain that single number inside parentheses. That's very important when there's a negative out front. That would change things if we didn't do it that way. The result. The result is, that is a code for an equal sign. Sum is the answer you get when you add. So we're going to add something and get an answer. We are going to add the first, which is n, and the second, which is n plus 1. So we're summing n plus n plus 1. You never saw me insert them in parentheses before because we had all addition. But really it is most correct to insert in parentheses. If you have addition, the parentheses don't matter. Okay, we have our setup. Let's solve 117 minus n plus 2 equals n plus, again, since there's a positive there, if I were to distribute it, it does not change anything. So I don't need these parentheses. This set I need until I clean this up. Before we solve, we simplify, and one of the first steps in simplifying is removing parentheses. I need to remember if there's a negative sign here with no number, that is like there's a 1. So this is negative 1 times n, distribute negative 1 times 2. 117 and negative 1 times n, negative 1 times 2. I'm just going to copy this guy over because I'm not working on that yet. So we have 117, negative 1 times n is negative n, negative 1 times 2 is minus 2. Anytime we remove parentheses, we then go like term hunting. Usually there are some terms that have emerged. So here we have a plus 117 and a minus 2. I can combine those. 117 minus 2 would be 115. And then minus n equals. I'm now done simplifying that side, so I'm going to look over here. And I do have like terms here. I have one n here and another n here. So I have a total of 2 n's. I'll combine those. when we solve, we want the letters on the left of the equal sign and the numbers on the right. You certainly can do it another way around, but when you do your inequalities, it will serve you well to have done the letters on the left and the numbers on the right. So because I'm following that guideline, I'm going to get rid of this 2n. The opposite of 2n is minus 2n. Line it up with my other n. So I have 115. Negative n is the same as negative 1n. So negative 1n and negative 2n. That is now negative 3n's equals 1. Get rid of the 115. Opposite of plus 115 is minus 115. Whatever I do to one side, I do the same thing under the like terms on the other side. Negative 3n equals negative 114. I have negative 3n, that's negative 3 times n is equal to negative 114. The opposite of times is divide. I don't just want to get rid of the 3. I want to get rid of the negative 3. So I'm going to divide by negative 3. Where our answer is now n equals positive 38. Okay, not done. We were not asked for a single number. We were asked for 3 numbers, 3 consecutive numbers. So I'm going to take my 38 and roll back up the page and put it next to that first number. If n is 38, then n plus 1 is 38 plus 1, which is 39. And n plus 2 is 38 plus 2, which is 40. So we have 38, 39, and 40. That's a 38.